Welcome back to History in Motion, proudly brought to you by Midas. The Sabella Marque car drivers were preparing to head out onto the track and get their racing underway. The handicap system might throw up some unusual results with the wet weather, as Paul Manigault explains.
This race is quite difficult because of the rain. And as you know, handicap racing, there is a breakout allowance, and it's very difficult to set up your times properly so that you don't break out in weather that's very changeable, because if the weather gets better, then all of a sudden you're going a lot faster. So it's going to be very tricky to make sure that we don't break out.
It's all good, just very slippery out on track. Just got to keep it steady and try and catch the teammates.
Leading the field will be John Martin in his 1961 DKW F11 Junior. 6 minutes and 14 seconds behind him will be Michael Koenig in his MGB GT. Cobus Brits will be starting 9th with Colin Keane, the final starter 8 minutes and 44 seconds behind John Martin. The planes were in the sky, but the rain was still coming down as the Sabella Marque cars took to the track and went under starters' orders. First off was John Martin in his DKW F11 Junior. With his car being a fair bit slower than the other cars in the class, he gets a 6 minute 14 second head start in this handicap race. Next off was Michael Koenig. A few seconds later, and it was Andre Renneker and Bert van Aal's turn to get their race underway. Cobus Brits is pushing hard, trying to unlap himself. Into the boot he goes, and he loses the back, spinning around into the path of George Adalis in his Alfa Romeo Berliner. Brits gets the BP Porsche going again and rapidly retakes his lost position. Bert van Aal ahead of Roger Houston, Paul Manigault, and Cobus Brits as they stream into turn 1. Cobus Brits will be eyeing up the Alfa Romeo Giulia of Paul Manigault as they exit the turn. Andre Renneker in his black and white Porsche 928S is about to overtake the MGB of Michael Koenig. Into the boot, and he makes his move. Koenig will do his best to keep with Renneker, but the Porsche has a little bit more power than the MG, and already Renneker pulls a slight gap. Roger Houston's MGB Roadster is ahead of Bert van Aal, who is being unlapped by Cobus Brits. Brits is trying to work his way to the front after starting 8 minutes and 40 seconds behind John Martin. Houston is next up to be passed. Into the boot, and Brits is ahead of this cluster of cars. He will have his head firmly down as he hunts down Martin. Yorick Smith in the MGA has Colin Ellison's Mercedes 280 CE breathing down his neck as they go through turn 9 and head towards Kielskop. Looking back from the iron-on board of Keane, we see him cruise past the MGA as they make their way around Kielskop. Having started right at the back of the field, Keane will have a lot of work to do to make his way up the order and catch the cars in front of him. In an ideal world, if the handicap is worked out correctly, all the cars should cross the finish line at the same time. This formula always makes the end of the Marque car races most exciting. Cobus Brits is now approaching the race leader John Martin as they head towards the final corner. It has taken him almost all of the 8 laps to catch up to Martin and challenge for the lead. He passes Martin and takes the checkered flag. 5 seconds ahead of him, Martin finishes second. Confirmation of the results in the Sabella Marque cars. Cobus Brits takes the victory ahead of John Martin. Andre Renneker finished in 3rd, with Michael Koenig in 4th place. After starting at the back, Colin Keane came home in 8th place. The flag waves and signals the beginning of race 2, and John Martin starts his 8 laps. Yorick Smith is waiting to take the flag, some 6 minutes and 36 seconds behind Martin, and he will have that time to make up if he is to take victory. The rest of the field wait for their time to come up. Andre Renneker and Yorick Smith are side by side entering turn 9. Renneker in his black and white Porsche takes the advantage and moves up a position. Cobus Brits, meanwhile, is hunting down Paul Manigault, but this will just be to unlap himself. If he wants to overtake him, he will have to catch him and pass him again. A nice clean overtake by Brits, though, as the pair head into the boot. The 2 MG Youth Program cars are battling it out as they head through the Oncinis. Michael Koenig in the white MGB GT has a slight advantage over Yorick Smith, But that soon changes as they head into Unsini 2 and onto the back straight. Roger Houston is right behind them, closely followed by Colin Keen's Mercedes. From the iron-on board of Koenig, we see Houston's baby blue MGB Roadster make his move down the inside as they head towards turn 9. Great move by Houston, and the Mercedes-Benz of Colin Keen is right behind him. Out of Giels Kop and heading towards the final corner, it's Roger Houston ahead of Bert van Aal, with Jorik Smith moving up alongside Van Aal, but he doesn't quite have the pace at the moment. He has a look again on the inside of the final bend, but not this time. Van Aal keeps his position. The MGA of Jorik Smith tries again and pulls up alongside the Ford Capri 1600 of Van Aal as they head down the start-finish straight. Will he make it out ahead as they enter turn 1? Great driving from Van Aal as he keeps the pressure on, but it's not quite enough as Smith takes the position as they exit turn 1. Paul Manigault comes round to take the final bend and victory in race 2 of the Sabella Marque cars at Phakisa. A great race from him, which he won with quite a convincing margin. John Martin heads towards the final bend in his trusty, consistent DKW, and he will take second place. Colin Keen didn't have quite enough laps to catch and pass him and will have to settle for third place. Great racing from the Marque cars. Let's have a look at the results. Paul Manigault took victory with John Martin coming home second and taking overall victory for the day. Colin Keen in third with George Dallis having a good race to get fourth position. Race 1's winner Cobus Brits finished in 6th.
A little bit difficult the first race. It was quite wet. Thank goodness my little car hasn't got too much horsepower. But the second race, absolutely wonderful. Wonderful. I took a decision at the beginning of the year that I wasn't going to do the whole season. I'm actually building up a historic Formula V. So putting quite a bit of money into that. But yeah, they're having fun.
Quick question. When did Phakisa open? Find out after the break.
Coming up after the break, we have great action from the Formula Fords.